Hello and welcome. In this video we're going to talk about panda-friendly links, and what we're actually going to discuss is more Panda as a whole and how it actually affects your on-page as well as your off-page SEOing. And what we're going to use as an example here is Google, and that's really what Panda is based on. Because, I mean, let's face it, Google are the major shareholder as far as search engines go, and they're going to be the major shareholder for at least the next coming years until someone innovates or creates something which is better. And one of the key focuses of Google right now is to make sure that they're maximizing and continuing to develop and redevelop and redevelop and redevelop a lot of their services. And as far as the search engines go and their organic results, they're making sure that they're developing and redeveloping the processes they're using time and time again. Now, the Panda update, which occurred in early 2011, March 2011 is when it was noticed to happen. This is really an initiation of key algorithm updates that they're going to be performing ongoing. So what we're really talking about here when we're discussing the Panda update and all the stuff we're talking about now is making sure that you're protecting your future rankings. And you really want to put yourself into a position where you're not reacting, because when you're actually reacting, that puts you into a difficult state, and you can't really ensure that you're planning effectively how you're going to work with the client or work on your own site. And that's really what SEO is all about. It's about going and implementing the strategies and the techniques in advance rather than being stuck in a reactionary situation. So what we're going to run through now are a number of key elements that you can focus on, and these are the key elements that I've noticed that have happened as a result of the Panda update, and just really key elements that you should be looking at for the on-page and off-page of any site when you're SEOing. So the top steps to ensure you're Panda friendly. Now, the first one is to use original quality content, and you'll notice again a lot of the things that I'm running through here you will see or you have already seen in other videos. It really comes all together, and when you bring them all together, this is how you make sure that you're not only Panda friendly, that you're search engine friendly and you're search engine compliant. So any updates that occur in the future, you're going to minimize and or not be affected at all by the updates. So when we say original quality content, you make sure the content that you have, it is of quality. It actually contains substance, and that you have a look at between 400 to 1200 words, and you splice it up, and you have your content written. Some content pieces you have written at 400 words, some content you have written at 800. So you're really splicing it up, and you're creating different types of content. You make sure that the content is original in the respect that no one has used it beforehand, and you're not actually taking it off somebody else's site, because you take it off somebody else's site and you distribute it, they're still acknowledged as the original author. So you're shooting yourself in the foot. Especially if you take that content and place it on your own site, you won't gain the maximum benefit of having your own content prepared. Now, avoid duplicate content. That doesn't just mean not to knock other people's client off and knock other people's content off and to put it on your own site. That also means to make sure that you don't have any duplicate copies of your own content on your site. And there were a number of large companies that were affected in the last algorithm update because they had printable versions of their content on their site. So what that would mean is you'd have an article on the site, and then it'd have a button there saying click to view a printer-friendly version. That would then launch open a window that would have a version that would, again, be printer-friendly. As a result, it was actually two pieces of content on the site, and they were penalized fairly heavily for it as a result of having duplicate content. Because Google have a look at that, and they don't actually understand that that's a printer-friendly version. What they see is you're trying to increase the width and the depth of your site by putting the same content on there twice. So they were slapped for it. No hidden text on pages, and this is hidden text, hidden code, anything hidden on the page at all. You want to make sure that your visitor is seeing everything that is on the site. And what I'm talking about here is you don't go and take a whole bunch of keywords and you make them the same color as the background of your site and stuff them down the very, very bottom. If you do that, Google will, I mean, they're smart. They have a look at the background color that you've set your site to. Then they have a look at the text color that you've made your text, your hidden text in. And they have a look and they go, oh, look at that. They've made the background color the same color as the text. And then they'll say, oh, they're trying to hide it. You'll be penalized for it. So you want to make sure that you're not hiding anything on your pages. And you want to make sure all of your pages are indexed first. And what that actually means is you want to make sure that if you're creating content, you're putting it on there, that you're getting it pinged first and you're getting it indexed by the search engines first before you go out and you distribute that content anywhere else, or before you go and allow anyone else to put it onto their sites. So make sure you index your content first and you're acknowledged as being the original owner. So avoid keyword stuffing, and this is still a really common thing that I come across, especially with new clients, ones that have SEO'd their own site, and they've heard from somebody that a great technique is to go and jam as many keywords within the body content of their site, to jam it at the top, to jam it in their title tag, to jam it in their keywords. I had a client who, and I won't mention names, I had a client that has a business, and they went and jammed over 300 keywords in their keyword tag, and they were being penalized for it because it was a blatant misuse of keywords. So, there's no need to go and jam it in there. You want to make it as natural as possible and make your overall offering, good enough and compliant enough where the search engines can see it and they go, oh yes, this is an authoritative site. This is what the actual site is about. So you just make it easier. Make it easy for the search engines and avoid keyword stuffing. Avoid advertising on your site. And this is a bit of a tricky one. And if you have a site or you're working with a site that they do use a lot of external advertising, I've noticed a few of the domains that I've owned that I do have AdSense advertising on, and the AdSense advertising was all above the fold, so it was at the very top of the site when you went onto the page. And with the algorithm update, the rankings were actually affected, and they were impacted in the respect that they started to drop down a bit. What I actually had to do was I had to remove my AdSense advertising, and I had a few other little pieces of advertising on there as well. Remove them below the fold, and as a result of removing them below the fold, the site actually started to go back up again. So that's where I started to notice that Google, they're not a fan of you using advertising on your site. And if you are, make sure you put it below the fold. So make sure you have quality outbound links. Now those are the other sites you're linking to from your on page. And I actually, again, another client, I noticed the other day when I was working with a client, to push them up one spot on the rankings, and that was to the top spot for a highly competitive keyword. I focused on the outbound links they had on their site. They had all the other stuff going really well, and they were doing that little bit more than all of their other competitors for to rank. Except the competitors weren't focusing on outbound links. So all I did, put a couple of outbound links on there, and I put them to authoritative sites that are directly relational to what the client was doing, and as a result, it popped them up to the top spot. That was a very nice little surprise. Ensure you have all your relevant privacy policies and disclosures. That's really to make sure, and there's another point here, that's really to make sure that you're a legitimate business in the search engine's eyes. You can put down what they call a no follow or a no index on those pages. So Google won't actually physically index them, but rest assured that when their spiders go through, they want to see that a site is authoritative and that it just follows all the basic rules, and that they're not going to, they're not rip-off merchants. And one of the key things to make sure you're not considered to be a rip-off merchant, if that's the word, is to make sure you're complying with all the relevant policies and the relevant disclosures on your site. And so, this is the next point, which follows on from the previous point. Have up-to-date contact details on your site, and that means that you are letting people know that, again, you are a legitimate business and that you do provide a real service. And the best way to do that is to show that people can contact you. If you do hide or mask your contact details, why? Why don't you want people to contact you? You need to have some method that people can get in contact with you. And by doing that, again, you're making the user experience better. So the people that are actually going through your site, they trust your site more. But not only that, you're making your site compliant with the search engines as well. Make sure your site has authority links. Now, these are links coming in, and we cover this in other videos as well. So this is where you start talking about your panda-friendly links. And these are links coming in from other sites which are within your industry or high level of authority, linking into your site. And these can be sites like Wikipedia, for example. You can actually look at structuring within Wikipedia a page where you have a link coming back to you. And Wikipedia is an authoritative source. Along with that, you look at getting other authoritative sites like Facebook and Twitter and WordPress and sites like that. All of the high PR and sites which have been out there for a long time. Look at setting up links back for them. By setting up links coming back to your site, you're not specifically focusing on ranking them for a keyword. What you're doing is you're boosting the authority of your site to say, hey, look, if I have a link coming back from this particular site and they haven't removed it, then this must mean that they actually have the site contains a little bit of authority, or it is actually a legitimate business. Keep growing your site. And what we're talking about here is making sure that you're growing the width and the depth. Now, we're talking about the width by adding more pages to the site, and we're talking about the depth by adding more content. So let's explain that in a little more detail. Width is, okay, you add a page a week, let's say, for example, and depth is the size of the content you're adding. If you go and add a page a week and you put 100 words on that page, then Google will look at it and they're saying, oh, look at that. They're adding 100 words a week to pages, one at a time. They're just trying to make it look like they're building it. But you want to mix it up. And I mentioned that in previous points with your content. You want to mix it up in the respect that you're adding more pages every single week, but you're actually adding content, good quality content and depth of content to those pages. And install webmaster tools. This is super important. If you are working with a client and you haven't got webmaster tools, or you're working on your own site and you haven't got webmaster tools on the site, put it on there right now. Because Google if you sign up for webmaster tools, they're going to tell you if there are any issues with your site. They're going to show you how your site is seen by them. They're going to allow you to tell them what pages you want them to see and you don't want them to see. They're going to tell you if anyone's installed malicious code on your site. They're going to give you an opportunity to tell them exactly how you want your URL structured. There are 1,000,001 things that Webmaster Tools allows you to do, and just by simply installing it, you have a look at it. You don't have to look at it daily, look at it once a week, and you can understand and make sure that all of the pages and the structure of your site are the way that you want them to be seen. And look at more social media. This is really the way that it's going. And if you have a look at the social link building video, we talk a lot more about getting links back from social media. And the search engines are really using this as a stronger ranking factor, and they're going to continue to do it. And they're simply going to do that because more people are using social media. Why not tap into it? It makes sense. So you want to make sure that you're focusing on social media. And really, the overall thing that we're talking about here is making sure that the user experience for the search engines is as easy as possible and it's as relevant as possible. And it's like building credibility in an actual offline business, or building, let's say you've gone and built a business as a plumber. What factors do you need to implement to make people trust your business? And it's the same sort of thing, except we're applying it online. And a lot of these principles you would apply to the real world, like making sure that people have a way of contacting you, making sure that, again, if you were, let's say, a tree lopping business or a tree trimming business, making sure you have the relevant insurances, and that when someone comes out and sees you, that you can actually show them the paperwork to say, yes, I am a real business, I do have insurances, and when you're dealing with me, you can feel confident that I'm a legitimate business. It's the same thing online, and that's what we're really talking about. So have a look at the ideas and the different points that I've mentioned there, and ask yourself the question, are you implementing them? And whether or not, what you do need to do to look at implementing them. Because this will protect you not only from the recent Panda update that happened back early 2011, but what we're really going to do is we're going to assure that you are future protecting your business. Because that's what it's all about, is future protecting the sites that you're working on and future protecting your own site. So in closing, Google right now are looking at improving the user experience. And the best way for them to improve the user experience is to improve the search engine results that they're showing up. They know that there are other people out there that have search engines. They know that they're constantly developing. So Google need to stay one step ahead. And the best way to stay one step ahead is to make sure that they're making their customers happy. And the way to make their customers happy is to provide them with the best search engines results possible.